Hello and welcome to Know Your MP, our show in which we bring you up close and personal to your elected representatives, members of parliament whom you have chosen to represent you in this, the 15th Lok Sabha. Our guest today is a first-time MP who has been a keen political observer who decided to contest the 2009 elections for the first ever time, winning the seat and entering parliament. Please allow me to welcome Mr. Modugula Venugopal Reddy, Member of Parliament from Narasaraopet in Andhra Pradesh. A very warm welcome to you, Mr. Reddy.
Thank you.
In 2009, you got a TDP ticket and you contested the first ever elections of your life. How did you come this far in your journey?
Because basically I am an industrialist. Prior to that I was a professional by lawyer. And when I am in Bangalore, so Mr. Chara Chandrababu Naidu, family background, and we are doing service through Ramki Foundation. And we are very much acquainted with the constituency. So now he requested to contest on behalf of Telugu Party at Narasaraopet constituency. Subsequently, this battlefield, especially Narasaraopet, is a very hub of the factionism and Naxalism. So even though without knowing the basic roots and villages also, I won only totally depend upon the cadre of Telugu Party. First time I succeeded in my election against Congress rival.
It's said that it's very difficult for a first-timer to sort of find his way through electoral politics because there's so many challenges and so many struggles to win an actual seat. How was your experience? How did you find it extremely easy because of the cadre which was there to help you, or there were challenges that you had to overcome?
Because my father was a staunch follower of Dr. Ramanohar Lohia. And he's almost 1959, he was secretary for Samyukta Socialist Party, Guntur district, since 1959.
Okay.
So almost 6 decades, he served in district with the ideals of Dr. Ramanohar Lohia.
Okay.
And subsequently, my brother-in-law, Mr. Ayodhya Ram Reddy, chairman of Ramki Group, he is also having a lot of service orientation programs in Narasaraopet parliamentary constituency, and as well as my relatives also helped me to succeed in my election.
You know, fighting election cannot be a sudden thing where suddenly one day you wake up and you say you want to fight elections. There has to be a political awareness and a political sort of consciousness to want to bring about change or want to make a difference to the lives of your constituency. When was the first time that you realized that politics would help you achieve that?
So, because as an industrialist, as a citizen of India, only we can serve to some extent. So, as being a member of parliament, we can serve as a large scale. If suppose I am representing 2 million people.
Right.
Now, I could understand because for the last 3.5 years, I studied my constituency geographically and I studied the procedure and what is the better legislation to be placed before the parliament and the procedure of parliament also. And these two given a very much confidence, we can do service with a good motto to the people of my parliamentary constituency and as well as the country of Indian nation also.
Right. But wouldn't it have been a better proposition if you stood for the assembly elections, because as a Vidhan Sabha member or an MLA, you are better able to address the problems and issues of a local constituency?
Even though I am very new to the parliament, first time also. So, because I concentrated, because I have what is called a business role and I have a service orientation role and as well as the parliamentarian role. As a member of parliament, I can serve a larger scale of the people. So, and moreover also this is a parliament work also exciting work. Even though I am first time MP, I did my hardship for the last 3.5 years to acquaint with the subject of parliament.
Right.
And bills, acts and debates and what is that people want in my constituency. So, I studied geographically. Therefore, becoming a member of parliament, prayer, that is called political history is not much essential for being a member of parliament.
But there's also an argument which feels, or a side of the political spectrum which feels, that coming of businessmen, coming of industrialists into the political mainstream is actually not very good for politics.
So, almost everybody is aware that is the industrialist now day by day increasing in parliament. So, now if you see the 42 member of parliaments in Andhra Pradesh, nearly 50% of the parliamentarians are industrialists. Somehow they are doing business and they are venturing into politics. So, in days to come, it may go up also.
Right.
So, it is not a good sign for the nation, or once you become a member of parliament, they should leave the business and they should have only vested interest on the country and better legislation. So, I would like to suggest the future generation also, because now the elections also, money is becoming part and parcel. Therefore, all parties are encouraging industrialists. So, now I suggest to the parties and as well as people also.
Right.
So, who can do better governance? Who can do better legislation? If you see now member of parliaments,
Right.
most of the member of parliaments, they are not unable to understand the procedure in the parliament. Lack of knowledge, lack of language. And if you see now this in quasi-judicial system, that bureaucrats always dominating the politicians. So, totally we are solely dependent upon the bureaucrats. So, automatically that is politicians day by day is becoming a weakening the this is a constitutional.
But there must be some strengths which an industrialist parliamentarian or industrialist turned politician brings to the table. What are those strengths?
I couldn't get it.
There may be some good points of being a businessman turned politician. There must be some advantages of being a businessman turned politician. What do you think those are?
So, that is some extent, if suppose industrialists also only they have to think in the interest of the nation. So, I am not totally throwing away.
Right. You cannot totally rule out.
Ruined out.
Right.
So, industrialists can come.
Right.
But they should not act for their own interest. They should do something for the nation. If so, that kind of mentality if they create, then automatically
but as a businessman who is set up a private business, the competitive nature of the business is such that you have to show profits, you have to bring in more business, you have to do well, you have to give your employees bonuses and all those things. So by the very nature of a business company or an industrial entity, you somehow sort of that becomes second nature to you, that you have to be competitive, you have to try to earn more, expand your business. Expanding business becomes a sort of key word. How does a businessman turned politician forget that part, that aspect of his personality?
No, if you see, I have come across nearly 5 to 6 MPs. Those basically industrialists venture into politics and subsequently become MPs.
Right.
So, after becoming MPs, their company is running under loss.
Okay.
So, they could not concentrate on their business.
Okay.
So, totally it is not correct. Once the industrialist becoming MPs, they should leave the business. Then how to do the justice only for those people opted him as a representative of the people, who should think about that people only. So, nearly almost most of the companies have been collapsed. So, this is scenario. Most of the MPs.
So, the perception is that after you come into politics, your company should in a way benefit from your power and prestige. But in your experience, you are saying that in actual practice, what you have observed is the companies don't do well when they come into politics.
Yes, because I stay in Bangalore. So, my constituency of Coastal Andhra.
Right.
I have worked in Delhi. My political hub and my state capital is Hyderabad. While moving itself, it is nearly 20% of the time is going by journeys.
Right.
And moreover, if suppose parliament, for the last 15 days I have not looked into my business. So, subsequently only have to give some ideologies, sitting personally and giving ideas
Right.
is may not give much results. So therefore, most of the industrialists are suffering after venturing into politics. So only this is the solution is industrialists also should elected as member of parliament, but they have to be give the better governance and better legislation.
They
and better
probably
ideas.
should bring in more of their experience in running a business, try to improve, especially when they're members of committees or if they are in the ministries. They should improve the way governance or the government functions.
Yeah, certainly. Certainly, it can be, it help us.
You had mentioned earlier your father was a staunch follower of Ram Manohar Lohia, and he had been a sort of an active member of his party over there. How did that inform your political awareness and awakening?
So, because from my childhood, my father was Samyukta Socialist Party. Actually, he is serving the people in Guntur district, and he fought against emergency in 1975, and subsequently he was detained during emergency for almost 18 months.
Okay.
So from that date, I built up my mind. I should fight against the Congress. I should fight against the corruption, and better governance should be placed before the country. Then subsequently, my father also is a Samyukta Socialist Party. And now, due to the disappearing of Lohia ideologies and all, now who is the successor of Dr. Ram Manohar Lohia? I opted Mr. Nara Chandrababu Naidu as my leader, and the ideologies of Nandamuri Taraka Ramarao, the great founder of Telugu Party, and somehow very much acquaintance with me, so he has given opportunity. And my brother-in-law Ayodhya Ramareddy also helped me to get a berth in ticket.
We'll take a short break at this moment. Time for us to slip into a short break. On the other side, we have a lot more questions waiting for our MP today. Don't go away. Welcome back. After the break, we are talking to Mr. Modugula Venugopal Reddy, Member of Parliament from Narasaraopet in Andhra Pradesh. Mr. Reddy, as a first-time MP, as a first-time politician, what do you think your biggest learning experience has been in Parliament and of politics in general?
Because I used to go temple, so because I have not seen the Lord Rama, Lord Shiva, but where this Parliament is a real temple for the nation. If you do good legislation, it will serve the course of people. If you are not made it clear, it is a very exciting job. It is serving the poor through this temple. It is serving the good education, good health, and bright future. Everything is a temple of the nation. So because I sometimes I feel happy, unhappy. Most of the members are not attending regularly and is not in a position to give a better ideologies to the Parliament, and debates also, not healthy debates are taking place. So much, because if you see this FDI bill and so many bills, Mahila reservation, women reservation bill and Lokpal bill is not getting through. So now, because last 3.5 years, I felt very happy with the Parliament work, because even though first time MP, I learnt from the elders like Sushma Swaraj and Pranab Mukherjee Baba and Sharad Yadavji, Basudeva Acharya, because very healthy debates, and they are giving a lot of suggestion to the country through the elevated debates.
Right. But as you had mentioned that not enough work was being done in Parliament and not enough members were probably treating it as a temple of democracy or temple of the people as it is. Why do you think the credibility of the politician has suffered so much in the past few months and a couple of years? why is the image or reputation of a political class at its lowest right now?
Because you are aware that is the people, the good people are not coming to the politics. So because this is becoming a very pelting stones each on both parties. And if suppose Congress say something, opponent party say will no. So both together not giving a good legislation. So ruling party, opponent party. So quarreling and bickering together. So this is also one of the reason not to coming.
But somehow that struggle, that fight and that contest is inherent in politics right from the beginning of when you have to fight to get your ticket, then you have to fight the opponent, then you have to fight the election, then you have to fight when you come to parliament, depending on which side of the treasury you are. If you're in the treasury or the opposition, then you have to fight to get bills passed. So fighting and politics somehow are synonymous. Then why do you have that complaint against politics?
Because you are aware now that every day we are spending 30 lakhs expenditure for running a Lok Sabha.
Of the taxpayers' money?
Expenditure incurring for running the Lok Sabha.
Yes, of the taxpayers' money.
Taxpayers' money. So now we have to come across those issues by healthy debates, not adjourning, not giving slogans in the well and disturbing the house, losing the confidence by the people. So what I would like to say, we can solve the issues by debates only.
Right.
So only unnecessarily don't spoil our time. It's a very precious time, and in time legislation also it serves country's economy also will grow. So I request all MPs, not only.
But is this a tendency of the bigger parties to sort of shout down when a debate is going on? Because smaller parties, I don't think have the numbers to shout down someone who's speaking.
No, here also it's most of the time a number game only. So in parliament it's a number game. You suppose now TDP we are 6.
Right.
So if suppose the ideals of BJP is felt happy, we'll support BJP. If suppose we don't want to go with BJP, we'll sit calmly. If suppose government decision is totally adverse to the people's verdict, then subsequently we will also try to make it some shouting and postpone.
So you also indulge in the same thing that you are criticizing.
So now we have to find a remedy for this.
Right.
So now because.
So what you are suggesting essentially is that parliamentarians themselves have to find a sort of different way to approach a problem which is there, how to have a debate and how to have a peaceful and calm and informative debate.
So that only, that kind of very calmly debate and all, because now today morning there is a FDA Walmart issue has come. Now that opponent parties, they want to insist to make a query and where that lobbying money has been given and who has taken. So now the government has agreed to healthy debates has to take place, subsequently will take action.
Right.
If government agrees in the say, what is that the claiming, government agrees, there is no question. If the government is not agreeing, so automatically parliament is halting.
Tell us more about your constituency, Narasara Raupet.
So my constituency is a very backward constituency in especially Andhra Pradesh. Even though it is a hub of the commercial crops like tobacco, cotton, chilies. And Palnadu, the history also was in 14th century and 15th century. So there lot of villages are factionism. After constructing of Nagarjuna Sagar Dam, so my constituency also is now growing some paddy and some chilies and all. So totally backward area. Now after I becoming MP, just now I got it some moderation of canal system for 4,400 crores loan from AD, World Bank. So we are doing that work. And now the constituency is economically growing, and lot of limestone is available. So we set up almostly 7 to 8 cement industries, and is a political hub and as well as a commercial crop hub of my constituency.
Is it easier for a person who has a business background to sort of get funds for his constituency and start public works which are going to eventually help in the larger good, get them sort of passed in his area? Is it easier?
Because we know the schemes, there is a lot of schemes, central and central government assisted schemes and state government schemes. So because since I am a vigilance and monitoring committee of Bharat Nirman program and NRHM, National Rural Health Mission, and NREGA programs, we used to monitor. And one thing, because now that is so many schemes, but employment are very less. State governments are very less. Monitoring the schemes is becoming a burden on the state government employees. So what I request the central government, if suppose any central government schemes should be placed, should be inducted, sufficient posts should be created. If no employment, who will monitor properly? So NREGA program in my constituency is totally looting, it's not landing. So these kind of, because schemes becoming a scams. So this is those are really downtrodden people.
Right. But where does the MP or the elected representative come in? How can he sort of ensure that the schemes don't turn into scams or money is not wasted in sort of wrongfully conceived schemes?
Because that is the ones legislators and executives has both are like two eyes for the society. So these two eyes watch very closely.
Right.
And moreover, the rapport between the legislation and executives should be strengthened. They should honor each other, and they have to work in the interest of the people.
Right.
When the deviation comes between the executives and people's representative, so automatically that public money is going to be wasted.
But Parliament and the committees are sort of a healthy way of ensuring that relationship balance remains between the executive and the legislature. How much do you think it is effective in ensuring that that rapport between these two is kept?
So nearly now, if you see, in my parliamentary constituencies is my divisional headquarters. Nearly for the last 3.5 years, nearly 340 crores approximately central government funding have been lodged. So out of that, not only 80 crores amount has been spent. Now 280 crores is the balance to be spent. So because that is a lack of good administrating, and we are not in a position to monitor, we don't have any rights. We can review. We cannot take any action against any officials. So automatically only we are becoming a watching the activities. So in the constitution, they should have some powers to the MPs also. So only central government projects, funding or assisting projects should be monitored by local MPs.
So not only do you get the fund to spend in your constituency, you should be able to also monitor how it's being utilized and whether it is actually reaching the people it's meant for. How do you see what do you see as the biggest legacy of the Indian Parliament, the Indian democracy, which has celebrated 60 years last year and this year? How do you think it has evolved over the years?
So we celebrated 60 years completion celebration of Indian Parliament. So nearly I am almost born in 1966. So prior to my birth, almost around 20 years. Has been. After 80s, the country has drastically changed, especially in last 2 decades, scientifically and technically and agriculturally and the GDP also grown very well. So because now that we have to work more, parliamentarians should work more, and they have to be coordinate with all executives and government and people's really what they want. If suppose we are able to understand and how the programs and what is that government money utilizing properly, if we closely monitor, definitely the country will head more and it will go only by growth.
On that note, we'll end this conversation here. Thank you very much, Mr. Reddy, for coming to our studio and talking to us.
Thank you very much.
So that was Mr. Modugula Venugopal Reddy from Narasara Rao Pet in Andhra Pradesh. We'll be back once again next week with another MP. Until then, this is your host, Dheeraj Singh, saying thanks for watching and goodbye.